The internet went into meltdown when a shocking headline took over TikTok. And YouTube Prince William strips Camilla his royal title after her grandson attacks Prince George at school. Within hours it was everywhere. Tweets, reels, and dramatic voiceovers. The alleged incident: a playground clash between Camilla, his grandson, and the future king's son. The punishment: William revoking her royal title in fury. But behind the viral storm, one thing was missing: proof. As the rumors spread like wildfire, royal age scrambled to deny it. Fact-checkers called it fiction, and the palace stayed silent. So what really happened? Let's break down the truth. The viral claim breaks. July 2025 came out of nowhere, and it came fast. In July 2025, headlines exploded across TikTok, YouTube, and gossip channels with one dramatic claim: Prince William strips Camilla his royal title after her grandson attacks Prince George at school. The story hit social media like a storm. Within 48 hours, it went global, racking up millions of views, thousands of red posts, and sending royal watchers into a frenzy. Comments sections filled with shock, confusion, and a boiling mix of outrage and speculation. But while the internet surged, reality told a very different story. Snopes, known for its quick myth-busting, stepped in and swiftly labeled the claim false. There had been no royal decree, no press release, and most critically, no incident ever confirmed. William had not made any move to strip Camilla of her royal title. In fact, royal aides behind the scenes were already working overtime to shut the rumor down. According to insider reports, officials from both Clarence House and Kensington Palace circulated internal memos to deny the claim outright. No statement was released to the public, but the message to press insiders was clear: nothing happened. Still, the damage had already been done. What made this rumor so explosive wasn't just the accusation. It was the emotional stakes it pulled together, three powerful pieces of the royal puzzle. William as the future king, Camilla his complicated past, and young Prince George, third in line to the throne. Throw in the idea of a schoolyard fight and a family fallout, and suddenly it sounded like a soap opera. The internet couldn't resist. Royal watchers, especially those fiercely loyal to Princess Diana's legacy, were quick to react. Some believed it, citing years of tension between his sons and Camilla. Others demanded evidence. A growing number, tired of clickbait chaos, called out the recklessness of spreading lies just to go viral. Within days, reputable media outlets including Yahoo, Reuters, and BBC News stepped in with quiet corrections or direct denials. The claim began to crumble. But its viral impact sparked a larger discussion: why are royal audiences still so quick to believe the worst? At the heart of it, this story wasn't just a lie. It was a test of how fast misinformation can spread, and how much people are still willing to believe palace drama before checking the facts. And in this case, the facts were simple. There was no attack, no punishment, and no stripped title. Just a wild rumor built on emotion, not evidence. Who is Camilla, his grandson? To understand how this story even gained traction, we have to look at the details. And one detail stood out immediately. Who exactly is Camilla, his grandson? And why would he be anywhere near Prince George's school? Camilla, through her son Tom Parker Bowles, as a young grandson named Louis, born in March 2022. By July 2025, he would be just over 3 years old. Yet the rumor claimed he had not only been at the same school as Prince George, but that he had attacked him in a physical altercation. That's where the cracks in the story really begin to show. First, Prince George attends Lambrook School, a private coeducational prep school in Berkshire that he's been enrolled in since 2022. The school is known for its privacy, safety, and elite admissions. There's no indication Louis, and only 3 attends the same school or any prep school of that scale yet. Second, the idea that a toddler would be involved in a physical conflict with a child several years older stretches the limits of logic. Is now 12 years old hardly someone likely to be in the same classroom or even building as a preschool-aged child? No official school record. Royal source: a gory movies media outlet has ever reported any interaction, positive or negative, between Camilla, his grandchildren, and the Wales children in an educational setting. These families move in completely separate school and social circles. That's what makes this part of the rumor especially strange. It mixes names and titles in a way that sounds convincing to the casual viewer, but falls apart under the slightest scrutiny. If Camilla, his grandson, were truly involved in an incident serious enough to provoke William, there would be confirmation. At the very least, Camilla team would move to protect her image. William, ever the measured royal, would issue a quiet but firm statement. But there's been nothing. Not from Lambrook, not from the palace, not from the press, and that absence speaks volumes. So why did the claim go viral? Simple: it weaponized emotion. It pitted Diana's son against Camilla, his grandson. It used the image of young George, innocent, beloved, as a target of royal neglect. But at its core, the story wasn't based on fact, it was based on assumption. And once again, royal fiction proved more clickable than royal truth. George's real school life. Prince George has been a student at Lambrook School since September 2022, a prestigious private institution in Berkshire known for its strong academic reputation, tight security, and a firm stance on privacy. From the moment he enrolled, the school made it clear George would be treated like any other student, without special privilege or public fanfare. And by all accounts, that's exactly what has happened. There have been no official reports, leaks, or whispers about George being involved in any bullying incident, either as a victim or an aggressor. No altercations, no disciplinary action, nothing remotely resembling a schoolyard conflict with another child, let alone Camilla, his young grandson. The royal family has always made a point of shielding their children from public overexposure. When something does go wrong behind palace walls, it's often handled quietly, respectfully, and internally. That's been the protocol for years, and it hasn't changed. So when this rumor surfaced claiming Prince George was physically attacked, and that William had stripped Camilla of her royal title in response, those who know how the royal machine works were immediately skeptical, because that's simply not how these matters are handled, especially when children are involved. What's more, Lambrook has a strict anti-bullying and behavioral code, one that emphasizes respect, emotional well-being, and private resolution. If something serious had occurred between students, particularly involving the future king's son, it would not have escaped attention for long. Yet no credible outlet has confirmed any such event. Not the Times, not the BBC, not the palace, no anonymous staffers, no former teachers, no close sources. The timeline doesn't add up, and the logic falls flat. This rumor didn't come from Lambrook, it didn't come from royal correspondence, it came from internet drama. And like many viral stories, it found traction, not because it was true, but because it felt like the kind of drama people expect from the royals, even when it's completely false in reality. Prince George's school life appears calm, structured, and carefully guarded. His parents have worked hard to give him a balanced upbringing, mowing him to grow without the weight of daily headlines. So when people ask, could this have happened, the answer is simple: no report, no statement, no truth, just clickbait dressed as scandal. Past royal discipline incidents. Royal children have always been under the microscope, but that doesn't mean the monarchy errors. It's dirty laundry. When it comes to discipline mistakes or behavior, the royal family has a long history of keeping things in-house, quietly resolved, no drama. Yes, there have been moments over the years where young royals misbehaved. In 2005, a teenage Prince William was reportedly scolded by Palisades for partying too hard at university. Years earlier, a young Harry was sent to rehab for a day after experimenting with substances. Even King Charles had his own parenting controversies, like the time he allegedly confronted Kate Middleton over a disagreement involving a royal nanny. These things happened, but never once did they result in public punishments like stripping titles or issuing dramatic ultimatums. That's because royal discipline is not about spectacle, it's about optics. So when a rumor claims William, now heir to the throne, would risk onto a playground dispute by removing Camilla title, it simply doesn't align with precedent. Royals don't make emotional moves over minor private issues, especially those involving children. There's no record of the royal family ever stripping a senior member's title due to a family quarrel, let alone an alleged school spat. Even during the most turbulent times, Diana's divorce, Prince Andrew's scandals, Harry and Meghan stepping back, titles were only changed through careful constitutional procedures. And remember, Camilla is not just a royal wife, she's the Queen Consort. Any change to her title would require not just William's opinion, but also action from King Charles and Parliament. It would be a national headline, not just a trending hashtag. The rumor uses the idea of royal justice to dramatize what, even if true, would have been handled with compassion, not condemnation. Which leads to the real takeaway: the public often forget that royals are human, that their institution is not the monarchy, works on order, not emotion. Even if there was conflict, William would never respond by dragging Camilla title into it. So when internet users cite history to fuel this fire, they're twisting the facts. Royal discipline may be strict, but it's always silent, and once again in this case there was nothing to discipline. Just another rumor built on fantasy, not fact. William and Camilla, real relationship? Or a rumor like this to make sense that Prince William would strip Queen Camilla of her title over a personal family spat? There would need to be real tension between them. But in truth, there's been no visible sign of discord between William and Camilla in recent years. Since Queen Elizabeth's passing in 2022 and King Charles his ascension to the throne, William and Camilla have appeared consistently united in public. They attended state events, remembrance services, and royal charity engagements side by side. Most recently, in March 2025, they co-hosted a service honoring veterans, a moment that showed calm cooperation, not conflict. They've stood together during tough times too. Like Prince Harry's memoir fallout and increased media scrutiny. If there were ever a crack in their dynamic, that would have been the time for it to show, but it didn't. Sources close to the palace describe William's relationship with Camilla as respectful and professional. It's not born from deep affection necessarily, but from shared duty. William understands her place in his father's life and her role in the monarchy, and Camilla in turn has remained largely respectful of William's space and boundaries. If there had been even a hint of William seeking to undermine Camilla's title, it would have set off constitutional alarm bells. Camilla, his Queen Consort. Her title isn't something that can be casually removed. Only the reigning monarch, King Charles, has the authority to alter royal styles and titles, and even that would require public announcement and political formality. William can't simply strip Camilla of anything, and even if there were a falling out, royal protocol demands discretion, not drama. That's why the rumor field so often tries to paint William as impulsive, driven by personal rage. But that doesn't reflect who he is, especially not as the future king. In fact, William has shown remarkable control when it comes to personal matters. He didn't lash out publicly during the Sussex drama. He didn't speak out against Camilla during the transition to kingship. And he certainly hasn't found any tension between his children and Camilla, his family. So where's the basis for this so-called title stripping? Nowhere the relationship between William and Camilla may never be warm, but it is stable, public, and politically aligned. And that's exactly why this rumor falls apart the moment it's held up against reality. Media fact checks and public response. Once the rumor exploded online, the truth wasn't far behind. Within a matter of days, fact-checking outlets stepped in to debunk the claim. Snopes published a clear rebuttal labeling the story false with no evidence. Reuters and Yahoo News followed suit, referencing statements from palace insiders and pointing to the complete absence of any official royal communication. Even some of the same creators who initially boosted the claim on TikTok and YouTube walked it back, quietly rewarding titles, adding disclaimers, or deleting their videos altogether. But by then the damage had already been done. The story, despite being fake, had already wormed its way into public perception. Royal watchers had debated it on forums. Influencers had milked it for views, and casual readers had accepted as fact because it felt believable. The backlash came next. Social media users, many of whom support the monarchy, began demanding more accountability from content creators and online commentators. Some asked, "Why are we so quick to believe things that aren't confirmed?" Others, exhausted by the constant swirl of royal drama, expressed frustration with a never-ending wave of unverified gossip designed to provoke, not inform. It led to a broader discussion, not about Camilla or William, but about the online world's obsession with royals. Candle people were forced to confront a difficult truth: clickbait wins. Facts trail behind. Still, the pushback had value. It brought attention to media responsibility, especially when real people and reputations are involved. William, known for his calm, didn't respond publicly. Camilla, his team, said nothing either. But their silence did more than any statement ever could. It confirmed there was no fire behind the smoke, and as the story collapsed under the weight of real journalism, audiences were left with a reminder that's become increasingly necessary in the social media age: just because it trends doesn't mean it's true. William's real stance on bullying. If there's one thing Prince William has made clear over the years, it is deep commitment to mental health and anti-bullying efforts, especially where children are involved. He hasn't just spoken about it, he's led it. That's why the idea of William overreacting to a schoolyard incident with public punishment or royal drama doesn't line up with reality at all. In May 2024, just a year before this viral rumor took off, William expanded the Heads Together initiative, focusing specifically on tackling bullying in schools. He visited classrooms, met with educators, and pushed for early intervention programs that teach empathy, conflict resolution, and emotional resilience. During one of those visits, he said no child should feel unsafe, unheard, or unwelcome in the place where they learn. That quote alone makes the recent claim look ridiculous. William doesn't approach school conflicts with outrage, he approaches them with strategy and compassion. So even if there had been an incident involving Prince George, which again there's no evidence of, it's far more likely William would have worked behind the scenes with the school, the other child's parents and staff. He would have protected both George's privacy and the integrity of the system. He advocates for its also important to remember William has faced bullying himself. As a young royal in boarding school, he endured constant media scrutiny and classmate pressure. That personal experience shaped how he raises his children today, with as much normalcy and protection as possible. In that context, this rumor feels even more off-base. The idea that William, a global advocate for childhood mental well-being, would punish Camilla for something her young grandson allegedly did not only strains logic, it completely ignores everything William has stood for publicly. He spent years working to remove shame from children's mistakes, to handle conflict with sensitivity, and to avoid sensationalizing young people's behavior. If a confrontation ever happened to Georgia School, William's first move would never be titles or threats, it would be understanding that's who he is. And that's why this rumor doesn't just sound wrong, it completely contradicts the very principles William promotes. He's not in the business of creating headlines. He's in the business of protecting childhood. Prince George's school culture. To anyone familiar with Lambrook School, the setting of this rumor should have been the first red flag. Lambrook isn't just a prestigious prep school. It's a place chosen by William and Kate for very specific reasons: privacy, character building, and a strong moral culture. Since Prince George began attending in 2022, the school has emphasized normalcy for royal children. There are no titles used on campus. Students are treated equally. The goal is simple: give George and his siblings a safe, grounded education. And by every credible account, it's working. Teachers and parents who interacted with the school describe it as respectful, inclusive, and calm. No public incidents have been reported involving Prince George. No media coverage, no whisper campaigns, no leaks to royal reporters. Even inside royal circles, no one has hinted at conflict, bullying, or behavioral issues from George or anyone in his environment. Why? Because the palace and the school are deeply aligned in one goal: shielding these children from unnecessary headlines. Lambrook is highly respected for handling student matters privately and professionally. If an altercation had occurred, especially one involving the Queen's grandson and the future King's son, it would have been noticed, addressed, documented, and even if kept private, the royal press corps would likely catch wind of it. But this time, nothing, not a single credible word. That silence doesn't mean a cover-up, it means the incident never happened. Moreover, George's day-to-day life at Lambrook has been described by insiders as surprisingly normal. He plays sports, eats in the cafeteria, and engages in extracurricular as with other kids. There's no sense of entitlement or royal bubble, just a child being allowed to grow, which is why the rumor of a playground fight with Camilla, his grandson, never made sense. George is 12, Camilla, his grandson Louis, is barely 3. They're not in the same age group, classroom, or even phase of schooling. So when people hear a claim like Camilla, his grandson, attacked George, the question should be how, when, where. None of those have answers because none of it is real. What is real, though, is the environment William and Kate have worked hard to create for their children. An environment without scandal, without drama, and with a strong enough foundation to withstand any viral lie. What royal reactions would look like. Let's imagine for a moment that something had happened, a school conflict, a misunderstanding, or even a serious situation involving George and Camilla, his grandson. If that were true, the reaction wouldn't have looked anything like the viral story claimed. There would have been no title stripping, no royal outburst, and definitely no social media drama. That's not how the royal family handles conflict, especially when it involves children. In reality, any legitimate concern would trigger a carefully coordinated payload.